Hi, Dr. Yass here. In this video, I want to talk about a particular example of a case that I just recently have to exemplify why the rush to judgment that a symptom is a nerve could lead you down a very dark path where you never get the right diagnosis and therefore never get the appropriate treatment, and you could end up living in indefinite pain. So I think that when you hear this story, the average person would immediately assume that this was a nerve-related pain. But when you hear the understanding that could be derived through the Yass Method analysis of the symptoms, you'll be able to understand why you could immediately recognize that it wasn't nerve-related and that, in fact, it was muscular, which allowed me to resolve this woman's pain in just one treatment. So a woman came to me a couple of weeks ago and mentioned that for a couple of weeks, she had been having tingling and numbness in her ring finger and pinky, but more the pinky and less the ring finger. And the thing about it was, she said that she was lifting something, something specific to using her arms, which brought the symptoms on. And the symptoms kind of began in the back of her shoulder, then kind of went under her arm, down her arm, the back of the arm, kind of got intense at the elbow, then ran the forearm, and eventually down to the pinky and ring finger. Okay, so you get the concept. She had an activity that brought the symptoms on. The symptoms ran from the back of the shoulder, under the arm, down the inner arm, to the elbow, down the rest of the arm, to the pinky and ring finger. And her immediate reaction was that this seemed like it was neurological, that it was a nerve-related issue. So she kind of hoped that it would go away. And after a couple of weeks, she felt it wasn't going away and she was starting to get nervous. So I had treated her for a knee issue. She decided to come in for treatment. Now, the first thing I said to her was, it's important to understand that not only nerves refer symptoms, but muscle refers symptoms. And you know that because the indication of a heart attack is pain at the chest and the left arm. There's nothing wrong with your left chest or your left arm. It's literally a symptom that is referred from the heart, indicating that the heart is in distress. The heart is a muscle. So muscles can refer symptoms. So the first thing I thought about was the fact that she said that the symptom was brought on by activity, lifting something or pushing something or moving something. Notice that she didn't say it was from some jerky motion of her neck. She never even described symptoms in her neck. So the first thought has to be, well, if this is from a herniated disc or stenosis or a pinched nerve, all the usual crap that you're told, how is it that you're not having any symptoms at the neck and the mechanism is unrelated to neck motion? Yet you have to take in all the possible information to help you make the proper diagnosis. And no symptom, no loss of range of motion of the neck, no pain at the neck, no mechanism indicating that the neck was responsible for the initiation of the symptom, has to be a blazing red signal that it can't be coming from the neck, even though you think that it magically is neurological, right? You have to make sense of the presentation of the symptoms, including a mechanism of injury, all the information that's available to you. She next described the fact that it was from the back of the shoulder under the arm and then went down the arm. Now, we've acknowledged that there are muscles that can refer symptoms, and it turns out that there are muscles that surround the shoulder blade that can actually refer symptoms down to the hand. And when she talked about it coming from the back of the shoulder under the arm, the first muscle I thought of was the serratus anterior. It attaches from the back of the shoulder blade and attaches under the arm to 8 ribs. So I decided to look up trigger point charts to see where a strained serratus anterior could refer symptoms. And this is what I found. It was almost stunning to the both of us. This is where she complained of her pain. It went under her arm, down the arm, very intense at the elbow, and ended up in the ring finger and pinky. There you have it. Literally, when I showed it to her, she said, this is the exact presentation of her symptoms. This is exactly how she's feeling those symptoms. So to confirm it, I decided to press under her arm on the serratus anterior. And sure enough, she's like, wow, does that intensify the symptom? Then I muscle tested it. The muscle test is protraction. That's what it does. So I tried to incite it to activate. She said it felt it. So basically, we could see that the activity that drew on the symptoms was shoulder related, and therefore it would not be surprising that she may have strained a muscle involved in shoulder function. Then I decided to massage the serratus anterior. And as I was massaging it, she's like, my God, the intensity of the symptoms into my hand were extreme. As I completed it, we stopped and let her relax. And she said, it's gone. I don't feel the symptoms anymore. We then went on to evaluate what other muscles in the shoulder region may have contributed to the serratus anterior also straining. And we did a series of about 4 or 5 exercises. And by the time we completed those exercises, she didn't have the symptom. And I said, try to use your arms, move it, try to do stuff. She could not bring back on that symptom. So the fact that I was able to incite the symptom by pressing on the serratus anterior, that's called the comparable sign. That means that clearly that is the tissue that is eliciting the very symptom. The fact that with the massage and exercise, I was able to stop the symptom completely, resolve it, should also reinforce that we understood what was the tissue creating the symptom. Now, I tell everybody this type of stuff, and I do these videos because I'm so concerned that the natural reaction of the person when having tingling anywhere in their hand is to assume it's coming from their neck and a herniated disc, stenosis, or a pinched nerve, because you've been programmed for 40 years to believe that. But the message is that the Yass method doesn't accept the status quo just because it's been said for a long period of time. What is real are the very symptoms being presented. And if you can interpret the mechanism of injury specifically, she was lucky. She knew a specific incident that brought it on. It made it apparent that it couldn't be coming from her neck, along with the fact she had no neck symptoms, no loss of range of motion, and no pain. Yet the symptoms were all pointing to some relationship to shoulder dysfunction and straining of a shoulder muscle. And then it was really, really remarkable that I was able to find the trigger point chart to show that the serratus anterior, which sits under the shoulder blade and attaches to 8 ribs, literally created this series of symptoms she had all the way down, including her pinky and ring finger. So I give you this as a way of making you take pause, a way of saying that I need to be a little smarter in how I'm thinking about my symptoms and the potential cause and the type of treatment that I might require. And also to recognize that logic has to be the primary way that you determine what is going on in your body, and that in fact the interpretation of the symptoms is the primary mechanism for understanding what tissue is in distress, creating those very symptoms. So hopefully you find this very, very interesting. I hope you find it insightful, educational, and maybe might lead you to recognize that your symptoms are in fact muscular, not neurological. And I have actually shown in more than 98% of cases, it is muscular. So if you did find the video helpful or insightful or educational, please give it a thumbs up. If you like my YouTube channel, Dr. Mitchell Yass, please subscribe and hit the little bell signal so you can get notifications when new videos are added or when I'm live on YouTube. If you want to get in touch with me, you can contact me by email at drmitch@mitchellyass.com, or you could go to my website, Live Without Pains, it's plural, livewithoutpains.com. There's a contact us button there. Or if you decide that this really does sound like something that you'd like to follow through with and utilize the Yass Method, you can go and schedule a Yass Method Zoom session for the day and time that works for you. And it's great because it's available worldwide. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, so you can get in-person sessions there. But if you have no access to get to Jacksonville, Florida, by all means, we can do a YouTube Yass Method Zoom session. All you need is a resistance band and a chair for the actual equipment to do the exercise. The session's a videotape, so you have that going forward. We try to follow up. We recommend 2-week follow-up sessions so that we make sure you're on the path to becoming pain-free and fully functional in the shortest period of time available. All right. So for now, this is Dr. Mitchell Yass wishing you a pain-free, fully functional life. Bye-bye for now.